The night they came, stars disappeared from the sky. Eric Nelson stood on the roof of the North American Union headquarters, watching the massive ships slide into position above every major city on Earth. The vessels looked like enormous crystals, reflecting sunlight in strange patterns as they hovered silently. 17 ships in total, each one larger than the biggest human aircraft carrier. No one had seen them coming. One moment the skies were clear, the next they were just there. "Ambassador Nelson," a voice called from behind him. "The Security Council is waiting." Eric nodded but didn't move right away. At 42, with salt and pepper hair and steady hands, he had spent his life preparing for diplomatic challenges, but nothing had prepared him for this. "Have they tried to communicate?" he asked, still staring upward. "Nothing yet," replied his aide. "But every major communication system worldwide is receiving some kind of signal. The tech team says it's a countdown." In the emergency meeting room below, screens showed scenes from around the world. People filled streets looking up at the ships. Some prayed, some ran. Military vehicles moved into position in every major city, though everyone understood the futility of such preparations. "The countdown ends in 6 hours, said General Diane Ward, pointing to the decoded signal pattern. "We believe they're giving us time to prepare a response team." Eric studied the faces around the table. The 12 members of the World Security Council looked as frightened as he felt, though they hid it well. "Then we prepare a team," Eric said. "I'll lead the diplomatic delegation." Several voices rose in protest, but Eric raised his hand. "I've spent my career dealing with hostile negotiations. This is just a bigger scale." 4 hours later, Eric and 6 other delegates from different nations stood on a helicopter pad atop the headquarters building. Each wore formal diplomatic attire from their respective countries. No weapons as agreed upon by the Council. "The transport beam will activate in approximately 2 minutes, said Lisa Carpenter, a physicist who had helped decode the alien signals. Though not part of the delegation, she had insisted on being present to gather data. Her curly blonde hair was pulled back tightly, and she clutched a small device that would record everything it could about the aliens' technology. "Remember," Eric told the group, "we represent all of humanity. We show respect, but we do not show fear." The air above them shimmered and a circle of light appeared on the landing pad. "That's our invitation," Eric said, stepping forward. "See you on the other side." The light enveloped them, and for a brief moment, Eric felt as if his body had turned to water. Then solidity returned, and he found himself in an enormous chamber with walls that seemed made of living crystal. The other delegates materialized beside him, all looking disoriented, but unharmed. Lisa's eyes were wide as she discreetly activated her recording device. They didn't wait long. 3 tall figures entered through an opening that appeared suddenly in the wall. The aliens walked with fluid grace on 4 slender legs. Their upper bodies were humanoid in basic shape, with 2 arms ending in 7-fingered hands. Their heads were elongated, with no visible nose and 4 eyes spaced evenly around their skull. Their skin shimmered with an iridescent quality, like oil on water. The tallest one stepped forward. When it spoke, the words formed directly in Eric's mind. "We are the Alvernian Confederation. I am High Commander Zex Toral." Eric stepped forward and bowed slightly. "I am Ambassador Eric Nelson of Earth. We welcome you and seek peaceful relations." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "You misunderstand the nature of this meeting, Earth creature. We are not here to establish relations. We are here to inform you of your new status." A chill ran through Eric, but he maintained his diplomat's composure. "And what status would that be?" "Earth will become a protectorate under the Alvernian Confederation. Your resources and labor will serve the greater galactic community. This is an honor. Many worlds would value such recognition." Behind Eric, he could hear one of the delegates, the representative from Brazil, inhale sharply. Another whispered a prayer. "With respect," Eric said carefully, "Earth is a sovereign world. We have our own civilization, our own achievements. We would welcome friendship and knowledge exchange, but we cannot accept subservience." The alien made a sound like crystal chimes, a laugh Eric realized with dismay. "Your species has barely left its cradle," Zextoril said. "You've not earned the right to speak as equals. Look." A three-dimensional image appeared in the center of the room, a map of the galaxy with hundreds of points of light highlighting what Eric assumed were inhabited worlds. Earth was a tiny dot on the outer rim. The Confederation spans 12,000 years of unified progress. Your most advanced technology is primitive by our standards. Your social structures are chaotic and inefficient. You fight among yourselves over resources that are abundant in the galaxy. Another alien stepped forward. This one had markings that glowed softly along its arms. "I am Science Director Vexanara. We have studied your world for decades. You have potential as a labor species. Your physical form is adaptable, and you reproduce quickly. These are valuable traits." Eric felt anger rising but forced himself to remain calm. "We are more than our physical capabilities. We have art, music, philosophy. We have achieved much in our time as a species, and we will achieve more. We ask only for the chance to do so on our own terms." The third alien, until now silent, moved with startling speed to stand directly before Eric. This one was smaller than the others, its skin darker. "I am war strategist Kexaloran," it projected into their minds. "Your species also has an unusual talent for violence and territorial behavior. This makes you potentially useful, but also concerning. Resistance would be unpleasant for your world." Lisa stepped forward, though Eric had signaled her to stay back. "Your technology is remarkable," she said. "The instantaneous transport, your ship's ability to appear without detection. We could learn from each other." Zextoril's upper body swiveled to face her. "What is this one's function? It was not introduced." "Dr. Lisa Carpenter is a scientist," Eric explained. "One of our finest minds." "A primitive mind is still primitive," Zextoril dismissed. "Return to your world. You have 7 rotations of your planet to prepare your leadership for transition. We will establish processing centers for resource extraction and population management." "And if we refuse?" Eric asked, knowing the answer but needing to hear it. "Then your species will be classified as non-viable," said war strategist Kexloran. "Your world will be cleansed for more suitable inhabitants." Before Eric could respond, light enveloped the delegation again. The sensation of dissolution returned, and moments later, they stood once more on the helicopter pad atop the headquarters. Lisa immediately turned to Eric, her face pale, but her eyes bright with excitement and fear. "Ambassador, the readings I got, there's something unusual about their energy signatures, something that might give us a chance." "What do you mean?" Eric asked as military personnel rushed toward them. "I don't know yet," she said. "But when we were near them, my equipment detected some kind of interference pattern. It was as if our presence was causing disruptions in their technology." Eric looked up at the crystal ship still hanging in the sky. "We have 7 days to find out what that means," he said, "and probably just one chance to use it." Around the world, military forces mobilized. Leaders addressed their frightened nations. And in a laboratory below the North American Union headquarters, Lisa Carpenter began working on what might be humanity's only hope. Lisa Carpenter had not slept in 3 days. Empty coffee cups surrounded her workstation as she studied the data from the alien encounter. Other scientists moved around the underground lab, but she barely noticed them. Her entire focus was on the strange energy patterns on her screen. "You need to rest," said Paul Winters, sliding into the chair beside her. His round glasses reflected the screen's blue light. At 35, Paul was the leading expert on quantum field theory in North America. "We have 4 days left," Lisa replied without looking up. "Sleep can wait." Paul pointed to a pattern in the data. "Look at this spike. It happened exactly when Ambassador Nelson argued with the alien leader." Lisa nodded. "I've seen it. And here, another one," I spoke up. "It's like our brainwaves created some kind of interference." She pulled up another screen showing brain scans of the delegation members taken immediately after their return. "Human neural activity seems to disrupt something in their technology. I think it's why they kept their distance from us during the meeting." Paul looked skeptical. You think our thoughts hurt their machines? Not exactly, Lisa said. It's more like… She paused, struggling to explain. It's like our brains operate on a frequency that creates feedback in their systems. The more emotional or determined the thought, the stronger the interference. In another part of the facility, Captain Samantha Reeves prepared her crew for what might be humanity's first and last space battle. At 40, Samantha had commanded military spacecraft in Earth orbit, but nothing had prepared her for fighting an alien fleet. The Earth defense vessel Defiance will be ready for launch tomorrow, she told the group of pilots and tactical officers. It's the best we have. A fusion of our technology with what we've learned from observing their ships. Keith Bradley, her tactical officer, spoke up. Captain, with all respect, we're bringing knives to a gunfight. Their ships outclass ours in every way. Samantha nodded. I know. That's why we're not going to fight their way. Dr. Carpenter is working on something that might give us an edge. As if on cue, Lisa entered the briefing room, carrying a small, metal device. Paul followed with a cart holding several more identical objects. These are prototype psionic amplifiers, Lisa announced. Based on my analysis, human brainwaves, especially strong emotionally charged ones, create disruption patterns in Alvernian technology. She held up the device. It was shaped like a small helmet with delicate circuitry, visible beneath a clear, protective layer. This amplifies those brainwaves and projects them outward. In tests, it created significant disruption in the small piece of alien material we recovered. Recovered from where? Samantha asked. Paul answered. A tiny fragment broke off during the transport process. We've been studying it. Lisa continued. We don't have enough for everyone yet, but we can outfit the Defiance and key ground defense positions. Keith looked doubtful. So our secret weapon is thinking at them? Not just thinking, Lisa said. Focused emotional response, determination, courage, the things that make us human. Later that night, Eric Nelson found Lisa in her lab, still working. The ambassador looked older than he had a week ago, stress lining his face. The World Security Council has voted, he said quietly. We're rejecting their terms. Lisa stopped typing. Then we're fighting. Yes. But I convinced them to try one more diplomatic meeting first, with our new advantage. He pointed to the psionic amplifiers. Will they work? They should, Lisa said. But we've only tested them on a small scale. Eric picked up one of the devices. I'll wear one to the final meeting tomorrow. If things go bad, at least we'll know if they're effective. The next morning, a smaller delegation prepared to meet the aliens again. Only Eric, Lisa, and 2 military officers would go. All wore the psionic amplifiers disguised as ceremonial headgear. Remember, Lisa told them, strong emotions amplify the effect. If we need to use these, focus on your determination to protect Earth. The transport beam activated, and once again they found themselves in the crystal chamber aboard the alien ship. This time, only Zexitoral waited for them. You return without your world leaders, the alien observed. This suggests your response will be unwise. Eric stepped forward. We've considered your offer carefully. Earth refuses to become a protectorate. We propose instead a mutual exchange of knowledge and resources, as equals. The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Equality is not possible between advanced and primitive species. Your refusal is noted. Preparations for cleansing will begin. Lisa felt cold fear, but channeled it into determination, focusing her thoughts as she had practiced. Around her, she knew the others were doing the same. Zexitoral suddenly tilted, its head as if hearing something faint. The crystals in the walls flickered. What is this disruption? The alien demanded, stepping back. You bring weapons? Not weapons, Eric said, gaining confidence as he saw the effect. Just ourselves, our minds. The very thing you dismissed as primitive. The ship's lights dimmed and brightened erratically. A high-pitched sound filled the chamber. Stop this, Zexitoral commanded, its mental voice now unsteady. We will defend our world, Eric said firmly, focusing his thoughts even more strongly. We are not your slaves. We are not primitive. We are humanity. The crystal walls cracked in several places. Zextoril made a sound like breaking glass and fell to its knees. Transport us back, Lisa whispered urgently to Eric. While their systems are vulnerable. Eric nodded and spoke loudly. Return us to Earth now or we'll increase the disruption. The light enveloped them again, and moments later, they stood on Earth. But not at the headquarters. They had appeared in the middle of a busy street in what looked like Buenos Aires. Their systems are failing, Lisa said, looking up at the crystal ship hovering above the city. They couldn't even control the transport coordinates. People around them pointed and stared, both at their sudden appearance and at the ship above, which now listed to one side, lights flickering across its surface. Eric's communication device buzzed. It was Samantha from the Defiance. Ambassador, whatever you did up there affected all their ships worldwide. They're withdrawing to higher orbit. But they're launching smaller craft, attack vessels. The ground assault is starting. Lisa looked at the psionic amplifier readings. The effect has a limited range. We need to distribute these to defense forces immediately. Eric nodded grimly. And we need more of them. How quickly can you produce these? With global cooperation? Maybe fast enough, Lisa said. But we'll need time. Then we'll buy you that time, one of the military officers said, checking his weapon. In the sky above, the crystal ship stabilized and began to move away. But smaller craft, angular vessels that glowed with the same energy, descended toward the city. They never considered us a threat, Lisa said, watching the ships approach. That's their weakness. They don't know what humans are capable of when backed into a corner. Let's show them, Eric said. Around the world, the first battles between humans and Alvernians began. It would be a long war, but for the first time, humanity had hope. 3 years passed. The war with the Alvernians had transformed Earth. Cities lay in ruins, but humans had not surrendered. Instead, they had adapted, learned, and fought back with growing success. Samantha Reeves stood on the bridge of the humanities. Hope, a captured Alvernian cruiser that humans had modified with their own technology. Through the view screen, she watched Earth grow smaller as they prepared to jump beyond the solar system. Captain, all systems ready for jump, said Keith Bradley. After 3 years of fighting, his face had a long scar running from his left eye to his chin, a reminder of a close battle with Alvernian troops. Engine room reports psionic core stable, added Diane Powell, the science officer. Once a university professor, she now specialized in integrating human technology with alien systems. Samantha nodded. This is our one chance. We take the fight to them before their next wave arrives. The plan was dangerous but necessary. Earth's resources were running low after years of fighting. Intelligence suggested the Alvernians were preparing a massive assault to end the war. The only hope was to strike at the heart of their empire. Jumping in 3, 2, 1. Keith counted down. The stars outside blurred as the ship entered faster than light travel, using the Alvernian drive system powered by human psionic energy. Back on Earth, in the underground lab that had grown into a massive research facility, Lisa Carpenter watched the humanities' hope disappear from tracking systems. She turned to Eric Nelson, now the leader of the United Earth government. They're away, she said. Now we just have to hold out until they complete the mission. Eric looked tired. At 45, his hair had turned completely gray. How long can we last if the Alvernians send their full force? Maybe 2 months, Lisa admitted. But I've made a breakthrough you need to see. She led Eric to a secure room where a captured Alvernian was held in a special chamber. The alien looked weak, its normally shimmering skin dull. This is why they hate us, Lisa explained. It's not just that our brainwaves disrupt their technology. They affect their biology too. Lisa showed him data on a screen. The Alvernians have crystalline elements in their neural networks. Human brainwave patterns create painful resonance effects in their minds. Every time they're near us, they experience discomfort. So we're physically incompatible, Eric said. More than that, Lisa continued. They can't understand how we think, our emotional responses, our creativity, our ability to adapt quickly. These things are alien to them. And what you can't understand, you fear. On the Humanity's Hope, the crew emerged from the jump near a small, uninhabited planet at the edge of Alvernian space. They would need to make several more jumps to reach their target. Status report, Samantha ordered. All systems functional, Diane replied. But the psionic core needs time to recharge. The crew operating it needs rest. In a chamber deep within the ship, 20 humans sat in a circle around a modified version of Lisa's original psionic amplifier. This larger device harnessed their combined mental energy to power the ship's systems. The work was exhausting. Let them rest 4 hours, Samantha decided. Then we continue. Keith brought up a display showing their planned route. We've detected unusual activity in this sector, he said, pointing to an area they needed to cross. It looks like the Alvernians are fighting someone else. Another species? Samantha asked, surprised. Unknown, Keith said. But if the Alvernians have other enemies, maybe we can find allies. After 2 more jumps, the Humanity's Hope encountered something unexpected. An Alvernian vessel sending distress signals. Normally they would destroy such a target, but Samantha ordered them to observe. It's under attack, Diane reported, but I can't identify the attackers. They're using technology similar to Alvernian design, but different. Samantha made a quick decision. Move closer, but maintain stealth systems. I want to know who else fights the Alvernians. The attacking ship was smaller than most Alvernian vessels, but moved with incredible speed. It disabled the Alvernian ship, without destroying it, then docked to board it. Can we listen to their communications? Samantha asked. Diane worked at her console. Yes, but I'm not sure we can understand them. To everyone's surprise, when the communication came through, it was in perfect English. Alvernian vessel, you are now under control of the Liberation Front. Surrender your command codes immediately. Samantha exchanged shocked looks with her officers. Open a channel to that ship, she ordered. When the connection established, a face appeared on screen that made the entire bridge crew gasp. It was a human face, a man with dark skin and eyes that showed surprise equal to their own. Who are you? He demanded. How do you have an Alvernian cruiser? I'm Captain Samantha Reeves of Earth, she replied. We captured and modified this ship. The better question is, who are you? We thought we were alone in fighting the Alvernians. The man's expression softened slightly. Greg Martinez, formerly of Earth Colony Outpost 7. We thought Earth had fallen 3 years ago. Colony, Keith whispered. We don't have colonies. Greg overheard. Not official ones. I was part of a classified deep space mission. We established several research outposts beyond our solar system 20 years ago. When the Alvernians came, they found us too. How are you fighting them so effectively? Samantha asked. We should discuss this in person, Greg replied. Follow us to our base, it's not far. The base was hidden inside an asteroid field. As they docked, Samantha prepared a small team to meet their unexpected allies. She still couldn't believe they had found other humans out here. Inside the base, Greg led them to a command center where several other humans worked alongside aliens Samantha didn't recognize. Welcome to Resistance Outpost Gamma, Greg said. We're a coalition of species who have suffered under Alvernian rule. He introduced his alien companions, representatives from 3 different species who had been part of the Alvernian Empire for centuries. The Alvernians have a secret they've kept from the galaxy, Greg explained. They weren't always the dominant power. They overthrew their masters, a species called the progenitors, over 10,000 years ago. Greg showed them ancient images of the progenitors. Samantha felt a chill as she recognized something familiar about them. They look almost human, she said quietly. That's why the Alvernians fear you, said one of the alien allies. Your neural patterns match fragmentary records of progenitor brain activity. They believe humans might be connected to their former masters, possibly even engineered by them long ago. Samantha took a moment to absorb this information. We came here to strike at the Alvernian homeworld, she told Greg. We have a weapon, a large-scale psionic device that can disrupt their entire civilization. Greg nodded slowly. Then you've brought exactly what we need to end this war, but there's something else you should know. He hesitated. Most Alvernian civilians don't know the truth about humans or their own history. Their military leadership has kept them ignorant, fearing what would happen if they learned they might not be the pinnacle of evolution they believe themselves to be. So we're not just fighting an empire, Samantha realized. We're fighting a lie. The journey to Alvernia took 2 more weeks. During this time, Samantha and her crew learned much from Greg and the resistance fighters. The coalition included 3 alien species: the Tellarites, small beings with 6 limbs who had been engineers for the Alvernians; the Vorathi, tall creatures with skin like bark who had once been diplomats; and the Nyx, shadow-like entities who had served as scouts. None of us were strong enough to fight back alone, Greg explained as they gathered around a holographic map of the Alvernian capital city Zexkara. But together, with human psionic abilities added to our knowledge of Alvernian systems, we have a chance. The plan was dangerous but clear. They would take the Humanity's Hope and 2 resistance ships to Alvernia. Using stealth technology, they would approach the central command hub in Zexkara. There, they would deploy the large-scale psionic device Lisa had designed. If it works, Diane said, it will disrupt their entire command structure. Their ships, their weapons, their communications, everything will fail. And if it doesn't work? Asked a Tellarite named Vexmar. Samantha answered, honestly. Then we probably die and Earth falls soon after. Keith had spent days studying Alvernian defense systems with the Resistance. The real challenge isn't getting to the planet, he said. It's reaching the central command hub. It's buried deep under the city with layers of security. Greg pointed to a service tunnel on the map. This is our way in. The Tellarites helped build it centuries ago. The Alvernians don't know we know about it. As the final preparations were made, Samantha found Greg alone, looking at an old photo of Earth. How long were you out here before they came, she asked. 8 years, he replied. There were 50 of us originally studying deep space. When the Alvernians found us, they didn't destroy our outpost. They took some of us for study. I escaped with help from Vexmar. We've been building the Resistance ever since. You never tried to contact Earth? Greg shook his head. We couldn't risk leading them back to our homeworld, but they found it anyway. The day of the mission arrived. 3 ships jumped into Alvernian space, immediately activating their stealth systems. The blue-green planet of Alvernia filled their view screens, a world of crystal cities and vast oceans. Beautiful, Keith whispered. Hard to believe it's home to our enemies. Remember, Greg said, most Alvernians are civilians who know nothing about Earth except what their leaders tell them. The ships descended through the atmosphere at night, using cloud cover for additional concealment. They landed in an abandoned industrial area outside Zexkara. Samantha led the infiltration team, herself, Keith, Diane, Greg, and 6 others from the Resistance. Each carried a personal psionic amplifier, and together they transported the larger device, the size of a small table, that would affect the entire city. The tunnel entrance was hidden beneath rusted machinery. It smelled of stagnant water and disuse as they moved silently through the darkness. Vexmar led the way, his species' natural night vision guiding them. We're directly beneath the military district now, he whispered after an hour of walking. The command hub is still 2 levels down. A noise ahead made them freeze. Lights appeared, and voices echoed in the alien language of the Alvernians. Patrol, Greg whispered. They shouldn't be here. Have we been discovered? Samantha asked. I don't think so, Vexmar replied. Routine security, perhaps. Keith checked his scanner. 3 Alvernians. We can't let them report back. Samantha nodded. We'll use the amplifiers, remember focused emotion. As the patrol rounded the corner, the team activated their psionic amplifiers. The effect was immediate. The Alvernians dropped to their knees, their crystalline skin dulling as the human brainwaves disrupted their neural systems. Don't kill them, Greg said. We'll restrain them and continue. They bound the unconscious aliens and moved deeper into the tunnel system. Finally, they reached a large circular door, the auxiliary entrance to the command hub. Bexmar explained. I can bypass the security. Inside, they found themselves in a vast chamber filled with crystal technology. Alvernian technicians worked at control stations, their backs to the intruders. At the center stood a towering crystal structure that pulsed with energy. That's the central command node, Diane whispered. We need to get the device right next to it. Samantha pointed to a raised platform near the node. There. We'll need to create a distraction. Before they could act, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed and Alvernian voices called out in alarm. We've been detected, Keith said. Across the chamber, a door opened. A tall Alvernian in ornate armor entered, surrounded by guards. Even from a distance, Samantha recognized the four-eyed face. Zextoral, she said, the one who first threatened Earth. Move now, Greg urged. We won't get another chance. The team split up. Samantha, Diane, and 2 resistance fighters would deliver the device. The others would create a distraction. Keith led the second team, out into the open, activating his amplifier at maximum power. The others did the same. Across the chamber, Alvernians fell to their knees, crying out in pain. Zextoral remained standing, though visibly affected. Humans, he snarled, the word forming in their minds. How dare you bring your poison to our homeworld? While the guards struggled to respond, Samantha's team circled behind the command node, carrying the large psionic device. They reached the platform unopposed. Activating now, Diane said, pressing her palm against the control panel. The device hummed to life, its lights pulsing in sync with the command node. Zextoral saw what they were doing and staggered toward them. Stop! You don't understand what you're doing. We understand perfectly, Samantha replied. You threatened our world. You killed millions of our people. Now you'll experience what it means to face humanity. The device reached full power. A wave of energy pulsed outward, visible as a ripple in the air. The command node's rhythm faltered, then synchronized with the human device. Across the chamber, Alvernians collapsed. The lights flickered throughout the facility. But something unexpected happened. As the psionic wave spread, Samantha felt a strange connection forming in her mind. Images and feelings not her own flooded her consciousness. What's happening? She gasped, looking at her team. Their expressions showed the same shock. Greg fell to his knees. It's linking us. To them. A psychic connection. Through this unexpected bond, Samantha suddenly saw Alvernian history through their eyes. Their rise from primitive tribes. Their discovery of the progenitors' abandoned technology. Their fear of being controlled again. Their shock at discovering humans so similar to their ancient masters. And the Alvernians, in turn, experienced human thoughts. Human emotions. Human creativity and resilience. Human forgiveness and capacity for change. Zextoral remained conscious, though weakened. He stared at Samantha with his 4 eyes wide in astonishment. You, he projected. You are not what we believed. Neither are you, Samantha replied, understanding the Alvernian leader in a way that would have been impossible before. Throughout Zexkara, then spreading across the planet, Alvernians and humans connected mind to mind. Centuries of lies collapsed in moments of shared truth. The war was about to enter a phase no one had planned for. 5 years passed since the day humans and Alvernians first shared minds in the command center of Zexkara. That single moment changed the course of galactic history. Eric Nelson stood on the observation deck of the massive space station that orbited between Earth and the Moon. Now 50 years old, he watched as ships from a dozen different worlds arrived for the first official Galactic Confederation Council meeting. The largest vessel, a gleaming crystal ship twice the size of any other, represented Alvernia. Hard to believe we were at war with them just 5 years ago, said Lisa, now his wife. Her work on psionic technology had earned her recognition across known space. Even harder to believe they're the ones who called this meeting, Eric replied. After The psychic connection had been established. Change came quickly to Alvernian society. Vex Lauren, a philosopher who had long questioned the military leadership, led a revolution. With support from millions of citizens who had experienced human thoughts during the psionic event, he overthrew Zexteral and the military government. The new Alvernian leadership immediately called for peace talks with Earth. What began as ceasefire negotiations evolved into cultural exchange, then scientific collaboration, and finally, a proposal for a new galactic confederation, one where all species would have equal standing. On the station's main council chamber, representatives from 17 worlds gathered. Humans, Alvernians, Tellarites, Varathi, Nyx, and other species discovered during the years of reconciliation. Samantha, now an admiral, entered with Keith and Diane beside her. Greg followed with Vexamar and other resistance members who had become heroes across the galaxy. "The Earth delegation has arrived," announced a voice. "The Alvernian delegation has arrived." Everyone stood as Vex Lauren entered, though still imposing. With his 4 eyes and crystalline skin, he moved with a grace that suggested respect rather than superiority. "Fellow beings," Vex Lauren began, his words forming in the minds of all present through a modified version of the psionic technology. "We gather today to formalize what began in conflict but has become cooperation. The new Galactic Confederation will not be built on domination, as the old one was, but on understanding." Eric stepped forward as Earth's chief representative. 5. Years ago, our worlds were enemies. Today, we stand as partners. This would not have been possible without the courage of many people, human, Alvernian, and others, who were willing to see beyond fear. The formal proceedings began, with each world signing the Confederation Charter. When all 17 signatures were recorded, Vex Lauren spoke again. "There is one matter I wish to address personally," he said, turning to face the human delegation. "For centuries, my people hid from a truth we feared. We once hated you because we saw in you echoes of those we overthrew, the progenitors. We were right to see that connection, but wrong to fear it." He gestured, and a holographic image appeared in the center of the chamber, ancient star maps showing exploration routes from a distant world to Earth, dating back 50,000 years. "Our scientists have confirmed what we long suspected. The progenitors visited your world in its ancient past. They may have even influenced your evolution, but this is not something to fear, it is something to celebrate. You are, in a sense, their children. And perhaps in their wisdom they knew someday you would return to the stars and help restore balance to what they began." A murmur ran through the assembled delegates. For humans, this confirmation of ancient alien contact was revolutionary. For Alvernians, acknowledging this truth publicly represented the final breaking of old taboos. "We once hated you," Vex Lauren continued. "We tried to enslave you, then to destroy you. Now we bow before Earth's children, not in submission, but in recognition. You have awakened something long dormant in our species, the capacity to evolve, to feel, to connect. The future of the galaxy will be shaped by what our peoples create together." As a gesture of respect, Vex Lauren lowered his upper body in the Alvernian form of a bow. The other Alvernian delegates did the same. Then, surprisingly, so did the representatives of all other worlds. Eric felt tears in his eyes as he realized what was happening. Humanity, once considered primitive by these advanced civilizations, was being honored as the catalyst for a new era. Later, as celebrations began across the station, Eric found Samantha looking out at Earth from the observation deck. "Admiral," he greeted her. "You've been quiet during the proceedings," she smiled. "Just thinking about how it all began. When they first arrived, I was ready to fight to the death. I never imagined it would end with understanding." "Understanding. That began with you," Eric reminded her. "You were willing to take the fight to their world, but also to open your mind when the moment came." Greg joined them, accompanied by a young Alvernian female named Texara, the daughter of a scientist who had helped develop the modified psionic technology that now allowed easier communication between species. The Alvernian Science Academy has a proposal, Greg said. They want to establish a joint research facility on Mars to study the progenitor artifacts we've discovered in our solar system. Do you think we'll ever find them? Samantha asked. The progenitors themselves? Texara answered. Some believe they ascended beyond physical form. Others think they simply moved to another galaxy. But their legacy lives in all of us, especially humans. As night fell over Earth in their view, lights from cities glowed across the continents. Now those lights were joined by new ones, Alvernian crystal structures that generated clean energy, Tellarite communication hubs, Varathi biological research centers. In just 5 years, Earth had become the center of a new galactic community. Human innovation combined with alien technology had begun to solve problems that had plagued the planet for centuries: pollution, disease, resource scarcity. We have a long journey ahead, Eric said. Building this confederation won't be easy. Old fears don't disappear overnight. But we've made a start, Lisa replied. The psychic connection showed all of us that despite our differences in appearance, in biology, and history, we share something fundamental: the capacity to grow, to learn, to become more than we were. As delegates from 17 worlds mingled and talked on the station, sharing stories and ideas, the old barriers continued to fall. The species that once hated humanity now looked to them as partners, friends, and in a sense as the inheritors of the galaxy's greatest legacy. Not as conquerors, but as the children of the stars finally returning home and bringing with them the uniquely human gifts of adaptation, emotion, and hope that would transform the galaxy forever.